coming off of a disappointing loss. Our football team was challenged, and I thought they responded. We got down big and, outscored our opponent after getting down 22-7, 42-17 on the road in a very difficult environment. Just a lot of, positive things to take. Just the resiliency, the grit of our football team. We improved in some areas. There's room for a lot of improvement in others. The offense continues to, do some great things. Jaden Daniel was named the SEC Player of the Week again for the third time in 4 weeks. The offense is playing at an incredible high level, third in the nation in total offense, first in the nation in first down. So Mike Denbrock and the offensive staff deserve a lot of credit. And the players, they're playing at such a high level, starting with Daniels. The offensive line, certainly controlling the line of scrimmage against a very good Missouri defense coming in. Missouri is one of the top rushing defenses in the country. We had 274 yards rushing in the game. So obviously that, goes to, first and foremost, we talked about, winning the line of scrimmage, and I thought we certainly did that. I thought in the fourth quarter, our physicality showed. We were able to get a pass rush with 4 down late in the game, which is obviously very important. And then, some superlatives. Emory Jones was named the SEC Offensive Lineman of the Week. I thought he played outstanding, showed great poise when there were some personal foul penalties out there. He again was outstanding, but again showed incredible poise. Really proud of the way he handled himself. During some of those interchanges. Logan Diggs is number 2 in the SEC in rushing, so we're getting, great balance with Brian Thomas leading the country in receptions, touchdown receptions, and Neighbors number 2 in the nation in yards. So great balance offensively. Defensively, came up with a couple of key turnovers, a couple of interceptions, which I think certainly bolstered that group, and had some really big performances. Mason Smith played very well. I think if you start with where we want to go, I think that's probably his best game since I've coached him, and only look for him to get better and better each week. Now we flip the script and welcome in Auburn. Hugh Freeze is an outstanding football coach. This is well-coached football team. He's taken the personnel and he's fit, what they need to do with the personnel. And this is a team that's going to run the football, play physical, really well-coached on defense. The offense is going to run around, Peyton Thorne and Hunter, the running back. But certainly, have shown that they can beat anybody. It was a 20-20 game late against Georgia. Georgia was able to escape with a victory, scoring with about 2.5 minutes left in the game. So a very dangerous football team. One where we'll have to play really well, but we're excited about being home. As you know, 4 out of the first 6 games on the road, which is very difficult in itself, but this will be our 5th consecutive SEC game as well. So guys are up for the challenge. It'll be a great one. It's great to be back home in Tiger Stadium, and we're looking forward to hosting Auburn this weekend. So with that, we'll open it up to questions.
Brian, up here. Kind of continuing that theme, can you speak to the challenges that you've faced so far, maybe that have been out of your control, whether that be scheduling, the style of offenses you've played, and where you've played these games, and how it looks a little different on the back half of the schedule?
Well, I think you start with, 3 of the 4 games on the road against top 25 opponents, so outstanding teams on the road, Florida State, Mississippi, Missouri, all quality opponents. And certainly, we wish we could have, fared better in a couple of those games. But, we're certainly, playing at a high level offensively, and we need to continue to improve defensively. And that's, obviously we've given up too many points on the road. But I think our guys have done a great job in their preparation on the road. clearly, outside the Florida State game. We had a great chance to win the Mississippi game. So I'm really proud of the way they've handled themselves on the road, but it's been a difficult schedule. And so we're seasoned. We're right in the hunt. And, the season's in front of us. So with 5 out of the 6 remaining at home, we feel like we're in a good position. Let's go take care of business.
Coach, just wondering if there's an update on Jaden's shoulder and just kind of what the week looks like for him in terms of preparing for this game with maybe a little bit of an injury.
Yeah, he didn't have any shoulder issues.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. I think our biggest concern was, just overall soreness. He got hit a number of times. It was a physical game. But, he checked out well yesterday. He was in the film room this morning, got his normal film study in around 5:30 this morning, and was with the trainers this morning, and he'll be full go for practice on Tuesday.
Coach, do you think over the last 3 quarters you may have found something defensively? If you did, what is that, and can you sustain it?
Well, obviously that's the challenge. We feel there's some light there at the end of the tunnel for our defense. We feel like the progress that was made up front is going to be sustainable. We're going to have to make some more progress on the back end of our defense. We've got to go compete for some balls that we think that were out there for us to get. I think we are going to get better because of the experience that what Weeks is getting at the linebacker position. He's just getting more reps and more time out there. And I think we found a position that we're comfortable with now with Harold Perkins in terms of, it doesn't have to change from week to week with a new teaching progression. So I think there's a lot of pieces there that are coming together, and then I think there needs to be continued improvement at the back end of our defense. And I think if we do that, we feel like we're moving finally in the right direction.
Hey, Coach. You read off some of Jaden's stats there nationally, obviously among the best. But from your perspective as a head coach, can you shed some light on just how good he has played this year, what he's meant to this team, and obviously not just with his arms and legs, but in really clutch moments when y'all needed it?
Well, I think that's probably it. Some of the things that you don't see is ripping some throws, under duress. And I think that those are the big things that stand out to me is, he hit a seam ball late in the game. Even the touchdown to Neighbors that he threw that was wide open. We had a freshman center in there, and they overloaded that A gap, and there was pressure, and he had to move and slide, if you remember, and he was under duress, and he threw that on the move. That was just the nuances that a lot of people may not see. But I see those things, and as quarterback coach and the offensive coordinator see the little things that he's doing under duress or under pressure or getting hit after he throws, a very accurate ball that are starting to separate him from good to great.
Brian, sort of building off of that, it was the Auburn game last year when Jaden threw for 80 yards. What would you think has been maybe the thing that has allowed him to transform into this kind of quarterback over the last year? Is it sort of honing those little things?
I think I said this a little bit about our defense is that, it's our job as coaches to present the information in terms of what they need to do, players, to progress. And then players need to fix it. We can't fix it actually on the field. They have to go fix it. And I think, with Jaden, he fixed a lot of these things, he was not progressing, through his reads. He was coming off them too soon. He wasn't staying in the pocket. He wasn't being patient. He was doing some of the things that get you 80 yards throwing it. And so he's fixed a lot of those things and has put him in a position now where, he's one of the top, if not the top quarterback production-wise in the country. So I think we gave him a good plan. I think Joe Sloan's done a great job. Mike's done a great job of putting him in a really good position. And then I think he's gone out and he's made the adjustments and made the improvements.
Coach, over here. You mentioned the success of Jaden, success of Logan. I'm wondering what role has the offensive line played in both of their, success this season?
Immensely. I mean, I think we all know, you watch a game, if you don't have time to throw it, and if you don't have a running game that can give you balance, you really don't have much. And I think I've said this, you guys have heard this enough from me, is that we want to be equally as efficient running the football as we are throwing the football. And if you want to play too deep and you want to play soft and you really want to try to keep the ball in front of you, you better be able to run the football. That was in a large degree what was happening on Saturday, is that they were trying to keep from giving up the big play, and so it gave us some favorable looks in terms of running the football. And in particular, it gave us the opportunity to run Daniels as well. So again, I think they're a huge part of what we're doing, both in the run game and giving Jaden the opportunity to get the ball downfield.
Hey, Brian, this is kind of a layered question about center. Maybe an update on Charles Turner, the decision to go to Chester when you did, how you felt he played after watching the film, and then what does that look like this week?
Yeah, I think, Charles right now is listed as probable. And, we had an MRI. We thought maybe he had a meniscus, but it turned out to be positive that he does not. So, we'll be careful with him. And we're, like I said, I think it's probable that he'll get a chance to play. Martinez has been really good for us. It just seemed like he was a little off snapping the ball. As you know, we had a bad snap down in the red zone, and it caused some mistiming opportunities for what we were trying to run. And Brad Davis, our offensive line coach, really is high on DJ and felt very comfortable in that situation to put him in the game. And when he did go in the game, he was good. I mean, he did a really nice job. So we feel like we got another true freshman that is going to be a really good football player for us. And that doesn't mean we're not happy with Martinez. We just felt like in that situation, we could make that move because of the confidence that we had in DJ.
Hey, Coach, how familiar are you personally with Hugh Freeze, and what makes his offenses so effective?
I know Hugh, obviously, in the past year I've gotten to know him, through the SEC meetings. Hugh's a good football coach. I mean, he fits the style of his offense to his personnel. I think if he had Neighbors and he had Thomas, they'd be throwing the ball a lot. Peyton Thorne threw it a lot last year at Michigan State. Didn't run it much, but he's an outstanding athlete. So, they've chosen to run it a little bit more this year. I just think he's a smart football coach that's going to utilize. It's really like, for me, it's still about players over plays, and he's going to take the players that he has and he's going to set his offensive structure based upon his best players.
Hey, Coach, during camp, one big storyline was 8 scholarship running backs, and now you've got one that's really emerged. Is that what you wanted? Do you want one guy to kind of get the bulk of the carries, and what's the key to keeping the other guys engaged and ready to go?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that we had an exact formula in terms of how that was going to look. Logan has just been really physical, really reliable in all areas, catching the football, picking up protections, and getting us the tough yardage when we need it. As you know, we've kept ourselves in some really good third down situations, extremely manageable third down situations. I think we lead the country in third down conversions, 56%. A lot of that is tough yardage running, and Logan's just been really good at that. So, to answer your question, I don't know that we had an exact formula in terms of how it was going to look. And no, you can't keep all of them happy, but they have roles. They want to be part of our football team, and we'll just have to see where it goes as the season progresses.
Coach, Ryan Yates got more extended snaps this weekend. Just what did you see from him and how he continues to develop?
The next man in, it's the next man up. we don't have a lot of options, but that doesn't take anything away from him. He's done a nice job for us, and we have some confidence in him. We think that his next step is playing with a little bit more aggressiveness and confidence. He's a really good player. We want to have him let it go and, play maybe a little bit on the edge a little bit more. I mean, he doesn't want to make a mistake, and I told him, I said, it's okay, just go play. But he's a young player, and he wants to be, perfect. And it's nice to have a true freshman in there that is so conscious about all the little things. But I think he's just got to go play and let it happen. But he's the next man up in the nickel situation for us.
Hey, Coach, over here. So some of the calls near the goal line during the game, as far as from the official standpoint, I believe there was a false start before the touchdown. And
do you want to get me in trouble? Is that it?
I mean, just what were you? Yeah, basically, what were your thoughts on some of those calls?
We've sent in the ones that we have concerns over. It just seems that. It's hard for us to see how those, are missed, but maybe the officials look at me and say, how can you not, stop outside zone? So, I mean, maybe they look at it the same way. I don't know, so maybe I got to put myself in their shoes, but you would think you could see a guy that's right in front of you moving, but I guess not.
Brian, Malik is such a known commodity, but he still finds ways to make plays for your team. And I think in the past you've described it as having a good sense of space or awareness of space. What is it that still enables him to be as special as he has been?
Yeah, I think that's a good observation. One of the unique qualities of both of our receivers, and I would put Kyron in that as well, is their ability to make the first man miss. There are so many receivers that I've coached that they catch the ball and they're tackled. Malik, as well as BT and Kyron, they make you miss, and I think great vision. The ability to know when to get down, the ability to turn upfield. The great players just have that sense and awareness of people around them. I'd like to say it's coaching. It has nothing to do with coaching. It's just his innate ability to sense and feel and make the kind of plays necessary to make them explosive.
Right here, Coach. One of your freshman safeties, Kylan Jackson, what kind of progress have you seen from him? We just haven't talked or seen him much so far this year.
He's tying his shoes. He's got that down. We've got him taking off his gold chain in pregame. That was good. He thought that would be a good idea to wear that out in pregame, and we didn't think that would be a great idea. So you can imagine by those two comments, he's coming along, but it's a process. He's a great kid. We really enjoy him, but this is a process. He's only been on a couple of trips, so I would say that he's a guy that we want to keep moving forward, but he's young, and he is just figuring it out as we go. But I'd like for him, to continue to move forward, with an attention to the little things that are important, because he's got a lot of ability. His upside. Now that he's healthy, as you know, he's been fighting, a couple of surgeries, but he's got to keep growing. If he keeps growing and keeps moving in the right direction, you probably see him on the field by the end of the year.
Brian, just injury report?
Yeah, so I would say that doubtful is Chris. That high ankle is probably got him doubtful right now. And I think probable is Omar. Probable is Charles Turner. Probable is Aaron Anderson. Those would be, I believe, the guys that were on the injury list that didn't dress last week. Is that correct? Is that it, Mike? I think that was everybody.
And then you're talking about, Harold Perkins' position in particular. Is that something that was just the change after the Florida State game to get him outside, or is there more things that y'all have been doing in terms of settling that over the last, couple
We
of
were in
weeks?
3 down, so in our 3 down structure, we were moving them around because we didn't want them inside. So, we had some, different fronts that we were, playing. Now that we're in 4 down, we can really, designate his position as the Sam/nickel and play a little bit of a hybrid with him. His interception, he was really playing, a nickel position. We feel like he's athletic enough that he can be on the field, even if we want to play some nickel. When we get into dime, that's when we bring in Ryan Yates and play a little bit more of a dime package. So he just gives us a lot more flexibility. We can do a lot more things with him. I just wish we got to it sooner, but we got to the right front. Now that we're in 4 down, it gives him a lot more stability in terms of what we want to teach and how we want the defense to move forward.
Hey, Coach, right here. I know you said some of those flags you turned in because you guys didn't agree with it, but is there anything that you guys are doing in practice to kind of lower the amount of penalties per game, particularly like within the red zone?
I'm trying to think in particular what you're referring to. I mean, we've had a couple of, false starts here and there. We've been on the road. Sometimes it's a matter of, illegal snaps. But, yeah, we play music. We play loud music. We try to, get the environment such to match that. But I think by and large, this was the most penalized we've been all season. We had some interesting calls. We turned in a call that was a holding call down in the red zone that we didn't believe came close to that. Will Campbell was going to the echo of the whistle. He wasn't aware that you could drive somebody into the third row. You had to back off. He's an old lineman. We'll put that on me. He now knows that you can't do that. Yeah, there are some penalties that hurt more than others and that you would want to have a conversation with somebody. But I think our team has been well disciplined overall.
You guys have tried a lot of different combinations at cornerback. Just what did you like about Sage Ryan in that spot last weekend? And then what was the situation with Denver Harris? Was it an injury or just coach's decision?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think Denver's continuing to grow, continue to learn what we do, how we do it, on a day-to-day basis. Just he's maturing. Sage is a reliable guy. He's a veteran guy. He's been here, knows our calls, knows our defense. He's really playing the third corner, if you will, when you're a nickel. So, with Harold being on the field virtually all the time, then you're taking your third corner and you're saying, all right, if he's not going to be on the field, what's our best matchup situation? And he really is the next best player. So we want to get our 11 best on the field, and that's really what it came down to.
Brian, you're 4-2 at this point last season. Any similarities you see now? And then you went in the second half and obviously had a great second half and played very well. Any similarities you see now to the development of the team? Things that had to be worked out, in the first half of the season that may bear fruit, going forward?
Well, it's kind of the opposite, right? It was brought up that we threw for 80-something yards. So, we were working diligently on the offense and making sure that the offense was growing. And we were playing pretty good defense, right? That there was a stretch there. The Auburn game was won on defense, and we were playing really good defense. And I think now the shoe is on the other foot here in terms of, our offense is playing at a high level. We've got to get our defense to be much more in sync with what we're doing. And I think we took a step in that direction. I'm not saying it's a leap in any fashion, but we took a step in that direction, and we need to continue to do that. So that's really the charge here. And still play complementary offense and defense and special teams. We got a big play from Jay Bramlett late in the game on that punt. That was a huge play that backs them up, and we get the interception. I mean, there were a lot of things that happened in the game where if we got an interception, our offense came back and scored a touchdown, or vice versa. They were complementing each other well, including special teams. We need more of that moving forward in the back end of this season. Thank you.
Jackson can tie his shoes.